Happy Camper Radio.
It is the Happy Camper Radio Show, episode 242. Hello, everybody. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper, and no doubt about it, you hang around with us long enough, we're going to make a happy camper out of you. Daniel, you're looking good today.
I'm blue.
Yeah, we both just got back from a recent camping trip.
We did.
Oh, and we're just all refreshed and ready to go on our next venture, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to be talking about our trip here this morning. Also on the show today, we've got a very special guest that we're going to be joining here with us in just a couple minutes. His name is Brent Lengel, and he hiked the Appalachian Trail. That's always a good venture to talk about, yes. Happy Camper Radio, episode 242, coming in your ear right now. Stick around for it.
Happy Camper Radio.
And the Happy Camper Radio Show can be heard all around the world by great listeners just like yourself. You can find us in the iTunes Store, Podbean, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, and now on Odyssey, Samsung, and Player FM. You can find us on the web 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and if you want to watch us do the show right here behind the scenes, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And Daniel, guess what?
What's that?
We got a new YouTube button, a new subscribe button right down here. Right down there in the lower right-hand corner, the red button with a little pup tent inside of it.
Oh, boy.
You know, I sat here for hours.
I thought you don't do tents. Oh,
Daniel,
boy.
I sat here for hours trying to figure out, wow, what can we do to relate that little button to the Happy Camper Radio Show? And we put a tent inside there. How fitting is that? Okay.
It should be an RV for you now.
Well, you know, tent still has that traditional camping spirit to it. So, that's why we're using that. Well, anyway, you just got back from Cumberland Island.
I did.
You had a great venture down there?
Yeah, it was great, except for the bugs. I didn't wear as much spray as I should have. Actually, we were down there, and Luke's friend was down there. He had some spray, so I used that for the first couple of days. But Luke was showing us all the bugs that he got bitten up with. But other than that, it was awesome. And I don't know if anyone knows, but like on Cumberland Island, they're known for wild horses. So you'll just be walking around and you'll see like 3 or 4 horses just come out of the woods, and they'll just be bebopping along, doing their thing all over the island. And it's a pretty crazy thing to see. You're just, you know, in the middle of this tropical, you know, area in, you know, an island off of the coast of Georgia, and there come some horses. So it was really cool. We saw a bunch of other animals. We saw a bunch of armadillos. Deidre really got excited about the armadillos. And
you didn't bring one home as a pet, did you?
Nope. They got leprosy, so, you know.
Okay.
No, that was a lot of fun. And, so the place where we camped, it's like, we're about to talk to Brett, and he's done the AT, and that's a little bit more primitive than what you're used to or what I'm used to. But like, I feel like the place where we camped is the best happy medium that we've ever had, because it was kind of primitive. You couldn't have a pop-up. You couldn't have, you know, an RV. You could have your tent. They didn't have water. No, they did have water. They had water at the bathroom that you could fill up. They had showers, cold showers, and they had a flushing toilet. Oh, love flushing toilets. And, you know, and you're not going to like this, Skip. They had 2 outlets, and there were always people charging up their phones and stuff there. So there was that. But
you got to bring technology into the world of primitive camping, don't you? Yes.
But they also had little boxes that you could put your food in, so you didn't have to, you know, throw a bear bag or whatever. So it was really nice. We had a lot of fun, and we were like maybe 100 yards from the beach, and we could hear the beach at night, and the stars were amazing, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, Daniel, I thought about you while I was away on my trip. Yes, and this was my very first venture out of state with my brand new RV. And I'll tell you what, it was a nice little journey between Georgia and South Carolina. Now, if you're traveling into Georgia and you're coming here to go camping, you're going to see the welcome sign. And, you know, and I don't remember what the slogan is nowadays, Daniel. It used to be Georgia on my mind. Welcome to Georgia. You've got Georgia on your mind. I really think they need to change that.
Okay.
They ought to put on there, construction ahead, expect delays.
Okay.
You can find that just about anywhere in Georgia on the interstate.
Oh, yeah, we ran into that too.
And this is why anytime that I plan a camping trip, I go ahead and plan very carefully. If I see that it's going to be 2.5 hours between my home and the campground, I plan for 3.5 hours.
Okay.
Because I know I'm going to run into traffic. Okay. So yeah, that can be annoying as can be.
Oh yeah.
You just don't like to sit there and wait. You know, you want to get to your camping destination. You're already pumped up and excited about that.
Yep.
All right. But anyway, Daniel, I did get into South Carolina. We did stop at the Welcome Center there, which was very nice. And we pulled in, and it's nice having the RV because you can go in the back. You can make yourself some lunch.
Yep.
You can take a nap if you want.
Yeah.
All right. And you got all that luxury right there. Okay.
That's
and,
what you're all about now.
Well, you know, it took me going down to FDR State Park to change all that.
Yep, it'll change
But,
you.
hey, I tell you what, you know, it was about a 20-minute ride between, you know, once I got into South Carolina till I got to the campground. And, Daniel, I was at the Oconee Point campground. Beautiful, beautiful campground. It was cold. The weather was nice. I camped right by the lake. I met a lot of nice people there. The campground was not that busy.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was able to wake up with a morning cup of coffee and go outside and watch the sunrise. The campground host told me, he says, you picked one of the best spots in this campground here. And he was showing me exactly on the map where people would come out of their RV and sit to watch the sunrise.
Ooh.
I took full advantage of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
But we had some great time there. The only downside I had about Oconee Point Campground, Daniel, unlike some of the other Army Corps sites, they didn't sell firewood. And it was cold up there.
Yeah, I bet. It was a little chilly
and
where we
the
are.
very nice folks at the information booth, they didn't know where we could get firewood. So I got out and I got in the truck, which is something I rarely do. I rarely leave the campground when I arrive.
We know that.
But I drove about 5 or 6 miles down the road to a local convenience store, a small mom and pop shop, and they had some firewood there for sale.
Oh, good.
And it was just these, you know, a little stack of 8 boards, you know, that was very fine cut, and it was like $6 or $7. And I'm going, oh, I hate paying that. But, you know, hey, I'm camping. I'm away right now. It's a nice little venture, so I ordered a couple of those, and I brought them on back. Burned one stack one night, another stack the other night, and it lasted about 45 minutes, but at least I could say, hey, I enjoyed a campfire while I was there. I could have, because this is a very wooded area, I could have walked through the woods and picked up some fallen debris.
That's what I do.
Well, yeah, but see, that's not the way I want to spend my camping trip,
I
Daniel.
like it. It's like an Easter egg hunt. You find that good board. Like we had a fire down there, and I would get the Spanish moss to start it. And I would get the little twigs, and I would look for something bigger, and then something bigger. And I may or may not have poached from the empty campsites where all their wood wasn't burned. So that's where I got the good stuff. But yeah, I feel like I've always done that. I loved that as a kid. I don't know.
Well,
like
one thing we have in common, Daniel. We both know that it's very depressing to have to come home.
Yeah.
The last day of the trip, you want to stay longer. You can't stay longer, but all you can do is plan for another trip next year.
There you go.
And that's exactly what I'm going to do. This was a beautiful campground, beautiful folks, and it was well worth the drive. But, you know, there's going to be some other campgrounds. You and I right now are talking about going to Myrtle Beach next year.
Yeah. I got a little thing with Gary coming next month, so I'll let people know about that coming up.
Yeah, but folks, if you want to see any of the pictures that I posted on Facebook, definitely subscribe to our Facebook page, facebook.com, Happy Camper Radio, and you'll see a lot of the pictures that I posted from the Oconee Point Campground. Looking so forward to coming back. Well, Daniel, we've got a guest on our show right now.
Yes, we do.
And we want to go ahead and welcome him to the program. Let's go ahead and get him on the phone. Hello. Is it Brent there?
Hey, guys.
Oh, there you are.
This is
Okay.
he.
Hey, okay, Brent. We're glad to have you on board there. Brent, tell us a little bit about yourself. I understand you're an outdoorsman, and it's always good to have outdoorsmen here on the program. But yeah, you're a friend of Daniel's. You met him where, Daniel? At
Dragon Con, yeah.
I'm going to have to go to that event one of these days.
They have a podcasting track. I'm telling you, you could teach them all how to do your thing.
I don't know what I would dress up as, Daniel, but I'd probably come down and pay a
visit. There you go. You could dress up as Ron Swanson. You perfect Ron Swanson.
Where did I hear that before?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, Brent, anyway, it's glad to have you on the program today, and we're so looking forward to talking to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey on the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Brent Lengel. I am a poet, playwright, a Ringo Award-nominated comic creator, and also am working on a fantasy novel with the lead singer of a band called Crew Shadows, which that was why I was at Dragon Con. We're there every year reading like a chapter of the novel as we work on it. And yeah, I am also an Appalachian Trail 2,000 miler, and I am the author of the very first play ever about the Appalachian Trail, North to Maine, which has premiered it's played twice in New York, in Manhattan. And yeah, the Appalachian Trail Conservancy came on and sponsored it both times. So it's like the play about the Appalachian Trail, which I'm very excited about.
Oh, okay. You know, and I'm thinking, as you're talking here, you met Daniel at Dragon Con. I imagine if you were up in this area right now, both of you would be over at the Netherworld event that we have over here, you know, with all those crazy outfits.
That is right down the street from us, Brett.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I try
the Netherworld booth every year is right next to the Crew Shadows booth.
Yep.
in the on the marquee level of the Marriott marquee. So yeah, I'm very familiar with the Netherworld people.
If I ever have to leave the area, I try to avoid that particular part of town
crazy
because
out there.
Yeah, the traffic is just unbelievable, and they've been there for quite a long time now.
They used to be in Norcross, like right off of 85, but now they're right down the road on East Park Place. So yeah, it's a haunted. It's like the biggest haunted house in Georgia, and I think they've got escape rooms and they've got other stuff too. But I don't know. I'm not really into that stuff.
Okay, well, Brent, you know, you say you were on the Appalachian Trail. Now you hiked from Maine to Georgia. We're so used to hearing people who start at Springer Mountain and work their way up to Mount Katahdin. So tell us a little bit about your venture.
Yeah, so I said Maine to Georgia just because that's the sort of way that a lot of people will say it. But no, mine was a slightly unorthodox way of doing it. In 2006, over the summer, I started late. So I hiked from, I had my dad drop me off just north of Gatlinburg, and I hiked from Gatlinburg, Tennessee to Waynesboro, Virginia. At that point, I called my mom and said, "Mom, I'm not going back to college. I'm going to finish the Appalachian Trail." She said, "Absolutely not." So I wound up going back, finishing my last semester of college. And then I worked as a kind of a small-time actor in and around Cincinnati and Chillicothe, Ohio. And then personal tragedy came in to my life. And as a result, I was motivated to get back on the Appalachian Trail as soon as possible. So, you know, I started right back at Waynesboro, Virginia, hiked all the way up to Katahdin, flew home once I had finished, you know, 90% of the trail. And then what wound up happening was I was in a production of The Crucible where I played John Proctor. And literally the day after that production closed, me and my girlfriend, who's now my wife, we got in her car and drove down to Hot Springs, just north of Hot Springs, which is my absolute favorite trail town, and started hiking south from there. And yeah, summited Springer Mountain just after Halloween, I believe. Yeah, it was a day or two after Halloween in 2008. Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't really a through hike, wasn't really a section hike. I kind of got the best of both worlds, and I got to climb Katahdin with the northbound through hikers and hit Springer Mountain with the southbound through hikers. So like I'm kind of like, it's like almost a quick way to do a yo-yo.
Ah, yes.
Okay. So
when you said you started late, what day did you start in Gatlinburg?
Oh Lord, I think that was let me see. I think that was probably late May, early June, and
Okay.
a lot of through hikers, you want to be starting in April and March.
Yeah, because my friend, our friend of the show, Gary, he started, I think, on the 15th of May, and he made it
Yeah.
to Katahdin on like the 8th of October. So yeah, it was pretty
Yeah,
crazy for him.
and you got to go real fast then because the rangers will close the park
Oh yeah, that's what
after.
they're always worried about, October going up there. But that sounds awesome. I mean, like like the saying always says, hike your own hike. I mean, you don't have to do it
Mhm.
any which way. Actually, when me and Skip were at the trail days, I don't know if you've ever been to one of those up at
Oh yeah.
Amicalola Falls. We did a show there and everything, and there's this group of two old people. It was like hike the Appalachian Trail downhill. So they devised a strategy to start in certain sections of the AT. So 90% or probably 60-70% of the time you're hiking downhill, and I found that pretty funny.
That is very funny. I hope their knees survived that because
Yeah, right.
it's funny. Yeah, well, when you start off doing the AT, it's the uphills that you really fear because
Mhm.
you're carrying probably more weight than you really need to, and you're out of shape, so you're huffing and puffing. But what I found is actually in the long run, going downhill is the harder of the two
Mhm.
because gravity is pulling you down at every moment. You could slip or fall or whatever. And everybody more or less has the same knees. I think they accidentally made it harder than they otherwise would have.
Well, I think they didn't have anything on them. They were slack
Oh,
packing the
oh,
whole way. Yeah, they would
that
just
that
go
that
from
makes
what.
a lot
Yeah,
of sense.
yeah. So uh so what were your what were your favorite? You said you liked hot springs. I've never been there. I've been to Damascus. We
Mhm.
went to trail days there, and that was a lot of fun. Did you ever get a chance to go there?
Yeah, so I hiked through Damascus. In fact, if you go just north of Damascus to Mount Rogers, you were talking about horses appearing just
Oh
like
yeah.
the mist. Yeah, that happens atop Mount Rogers. I was actually back there. I did not make trail days the 2 years that I was hiking the AT, but I did wind up taking my play north to Maine there back in 2010. And so we read the play as an official event as part of Trail Days, and I was really worried because it was running late. Like not the play itself, but the time slot they gave us, we would have finished reading at about 10 o'clock, and I'm like, that's hiker midnight. They're gonna just check
Yeah.
us out. But I'll tell you, I don't think I've ever had a better audience. Like
Wow.
particularly for a reading, like they were 100% on it. They were laughing where they were supposed to be laughing. They were quiet where they were supposed to be quiet. And at the end, huge explosion of applause. So that really made me feel like I had done the trail community right in capturing the experience dramatically.
So how does
Um,
this play go? What is it about? I mean, it's about hiking the trail, but like, what does it entail?
Yeah, well, so North to Maine, it's a 5 character play. It can be performed by 5 actors. And it's sort of, I would call it like a fictionalized memoir. Like, I worked a lot of real experiences I had on the trail and a lot of real people that I met, though I didn't just grab somebody and throw them in as a character. I would usually take a piece of this hiker, take a piece of that hiker, and kind of mash them together. And it involves a young, kind of disillusioned man by the name of Adam, who eventually earns the trail name Frodo, and his trip, north to Maine, north to Katahdin.
Uh-huh.
It sort of uh, starts out with a young man with lacking direction and purpose, having sort of an existential crisis about the world and his place in it, and sort of ends as a kind of coming of age story where the 5 characters kind of pull on each other to make it through their own personal crises while they're hiking the trail north to Maine. Um, Yeah, and like I called the guy Frodo because while I was on the AT, I was like, I can't believe I didn't think to do this. I should have gotten a replica of the One Ring from Lord of the Rings,
boy.
Worn it on my neck, and left it hanging on the sign. So that's actually spoiler. That's how the play ends. Is he leaves the ring hanging from the sign of Katahdin. Yeah, so I mean, I would say it's a drama. It really kind of, I set out that I wanted someone who saw the play to understand like what it was like to be a through hiker, what it was like to hike the Appalachian Trail, because I think at the time, like it had almost become a national punchline. There was that one senator that lied about being on the Appalachian Trail while he was like seeing his mistress or something.
Oh my!
So it was like. Yeah, so it was
remember
either that or like a lot of other people. You talk to them and they're like, "Oh, you're going on the Appalachian Trail. Did you bring a gun? It's dangerous." I'm like, "It's like kind of more dangerous around here."
Yeah.
Yeah. So both like total wilderness. That's not the case. The through hiking community is super like supportive, and even in places like the 100-mile wilderness, like I'm not hunting down deer and skinning them and dragging them back to camp. But again, at the same time, also, it's not this sort of national punchline. It's one of the most incredible and almost, I would say, spiritual experiences that a person can have, where we do go and seek fellowship with the wilderness. It totally revived my faith in humanity and my faith in myself, and was probably the best thing that I chose to do short of getting married to my wife.
Well, Brent, I tell you, I don't know if I would ever hike the Appalachian Trail. I mean, I've talked to folks like yourself and Daniel and Gary, and and it's always interesting to hear what your adventure was like. But for me, I listen to how these folks, they pack light. No, I got to pack a lot of food, so I don't think I would make it 5 miles up the trail. It just wouldn't work for me. But
well, there's that. Well, I mean, the good thing is about the trail, like as far as food goes. So you come to a town just about every 3 to 5 days. So usually when people are packing really light, they're packing so that they can run out of food just before they get to the next town, because once they run out of food, it becomes easier because there's a lot of weight in that, and you wind up going faster. So one of my favorite things about the AT, honestly, is the food, largely because you are hungrier than you've ever been in your life, and you can eat whatever you want and still lose weight. Like it's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And there's eating contests throughout the trail. I remember there was this one bar in Monson, Maine, just before the 100-mile wilderness, and one of the guys who was with us, Hangman, he decided he was going to try and break their fish taco record. And the record was 22 tacos, and he ate 21 and a half, but just could not eat that very last bit.
Well, Brent, I tell you what, it's great to have you on the show. And I mean, I'm just sitting here listening. It's just you got a wonderful story to tell. But, I'm going to invite you back to the show sometime to chat with Daniel and I. You sound like you're a real interesting guy to talk the outdoors with. And that's what this show is all about, camping and having a great time. Regardless of whether you're hiking or you're just at a campground, just enjoying yourself. There's no greater way of life, in my opinion, and I think the three of us can agree on that. But Brent, hey,
absolutely,
I want to thank you again for being here.
Yeah. By the way, when you have me back on, I've actually worked as an international wilderness guide in Iceland, so we'll talk about Iceland.
Okay, we'll plan on doing that. Brent, thank you so much for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you. And if you guys want to follow me, just Google my name, Brent Lengel, and we'll catch you guys later.
Okay. Have a good one. Wow, Daniel, that was a great show.
Yeah.
And you know what? And that's what happens when you hit the wrong button.
Yeah. I see that.
That's that we ought to use that as an outro for any time we have a guest on the program.
There we go.
It worked very well. Folks, it's time now for our featured campground of the week, right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show.
Happy Camper Radio. Happy Camper Radio.
Daniel, we talked about our camping trip, and it was a little chilly outside. It was cold.
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, let's go down to the south where it's a little bit warmer.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go to the W.P. Franklin Campground near Lake Okeechobee.
Ah.
You ever been down that way?
Okie dokie. Yeah, that's near the Everglades. That's
Okay.
That's that big old lake that looks like an eyeball in Florida.
Well, visitors flock to the W.P. Franklin Campground for its well-kept facilities and location on the Cullowhee River. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but, they got some crazy named rivers down there.
Oh, yeah, that's
okay?
all Native American words.
And they're good places to visit. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
okay,
yeah.
but, campers go there to fish and boat and take it easy in the sunny southwest Florida area. The campground is about 10 miles east of Fort Myers and provides visitors with a taste of tranquil, tropical country life. The facility has 29 RV sites and 8 boat sites, and they're equipped with 50-amp electrical and water hookups. A boat ramp, fishing pier, and trailer and dump station are convenient right there on site. Check out all the information right there on their webpage. I'm going to have a link for it all week long on happycamperradio.com. And again, if you haven't already signed up for a free recreation.gov account, here's your opportunity to do just that. Look for the little blue tab right at the upper right-hand corner of the page. It says sign up or log in. If you have an account, you simply log in. But if you want to sign up, definitely go ahead and do that, because if you're going to be using recreation.gov campgrounds in the future like I am, you're definitely going to want to have a recreation.gov account. You can make all your reservations right there online. Very simple to do, and they've got all the information. And some of these campgrounds, Daniel, they got pictures that are provided by the visitors. And they say, wow, it was so great. I'm going to go ahead and post a picture right here on the site so other folks like myself can take a look at it and say, yeah, I want to visit there too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But this is a great campground, Daniel, and it's not very far from us. So, if I want to make that trip down to south to visit Florida, and hopefully it's not in one of these areas that was in the path of the hurricane.
It might be a little bit rough down there right now.
But they'll recover.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll get better. Yeah. But, if you're going to plan on camping, you want to go to Florida, consider the W.P. Franklin Campground. It is our featured campground of the week right here on the Happy Camper Radio Show.
Skip and Daniel on happycamperradio.com.
And as always, if you have a campground you'd like for us to feature on the program, get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com, or the guy in the tennis outfit.
Hey, Daniel at happycamperradio.com.
And be sure to include a link to the campground website. Well, thank you so much for being on the show for us today, Brent. I know you're in the background there, and we'll be happy to talk with you again. As always, Daniel, this is a great place to be when you want to talk camping.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And remember, friends, every pet deserves a loving home. I want you to do exactly as I did. Visit your local shelter and adopt a pet today. You can find us on the web 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel with that brand new little red button down here. Yeah. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. Daniel, woo! He comes back from camp. He's always a happy camper.
You know it.
Yeah. And you better believe it, folks. We're going to make a happy camper out of you. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again real soon. This is Happy Camper Radio.
Happy Camper